Hi, I'm Dave, and I know wrestling. Do you want a wrestler who danced at the Olympics? Do you want a wrestler who has remarkable cardio for a man of his carriage? And do you want a wrestler who Jim Ross said would never make it in the wrestling business? Then allow me to introduce to you my client for Dave Knows Wrestling's honest promos, the Samoan mortgage broker, Samoa Slow, Samoa Joe. I know I normally call wrestlers by their real names for these, but to be honest, it's just a lot easier for me to go with Joe. Behold, a Samoan wrestler who somehow isn't related to The Rock. Probably explains why it took him so long to make it in the WWE. Because Joe has spent most of his time elsewhere. He started wrestling for UPW along with John Cena, but after a quick tryout match, he was told by Bruce Pritchard and Jim Ross that he had no future in the wrestling business. That's right, fanboys. Two high-ranking industry professionals once looked at both John Cena and Samoa Joe and thought, hey, that John Cena guy is really good, but that Samoa Joe? No thanks, he can't wrestle for shit. Just let that sink in for a moment. However, that criticism was the exact spark that Joe needed to get him multiple 5-star match ratings from the Wrestling Observer in companies that weren't the WWE, which just led to him becoming proverbial wank fodder for indie snobs. Even though it was those same matches that blinded those same snobs from the fact that a good chunk of Joe's matches are just him doing nothing but strikes and rest holds. Oh, I know, they're not rest holds. He's a submission specialist. Look, I know you hate to admit it, but Backlash wasn't exactly 100% Roman Reigns' fault. Oh, and speaking of which, is it odd that Backlash had a match with a wrestler whose character name is Samoa Joe going against another wrestler of Samoan descent who has the real-life name of Joe? But anyway, going back to Joe's wrestling, I will say that he is more than just catch-my-breath hugs on the mat. After all, he does do the lazy man's rock bottom, the upside-down opponent neck-contorting fall, and the Samoan drop. Which probably should just be called a drop when he does it, right? But it's not just about moves, because Joe has gotten away with phoning it in throughout half of his career, not just because of his work with CM Punk, Kenta, AJ Styles, and Christopher Daniels, but also because he can cut an amazing promo accented by a near-perpetual who farted face that could give Stephanie McMahon's a run for her money. And it's for the best that we focus on Joe's face, because at least that distracts from his man breasts. Yeah, try not to think about the other thing that TNA stands for when you look at Joe's physique. But all body shaming aside, he really does sell the idea that he's a very tough and dangerous man, which isn't easy to do considering that before he got into wrestling, he was a mortgage broker and part of a dance troupe that performed in the 1984 Olympics when he was only 5 years old. Although honestly, that sounds adorable. Joe is gonna dance for you. In the end, if you want a wrestler who sweats so much that it's a little bit worrisome if you think about it, another ROH wrestler who'd rather get paid than get booked well, then allow me to introduce to you my client for Dave Knows Wrestling's honest promos, SoCal Naufalau, the rest hold specialist, the supersized Taz without as many suplexes, really hard name to say, Samoa Joe. So in this day and age, how does he get away with being called his ethnicity and just a first name? Sounds like that shouldn't work, but I don't know, maybe that's just me.